Alrighty. Charleston, there we go, right there, Charleston. Okay, about 3 months ago, there was InfoWars had put out the thing about the nukes being moved from the bases. Since then, we've seen a major purging of generals, particularly three strategic nuclear generals being taken away from, fired by Obama for the most bizarrest of reasons. One for drinking, one for gambling, and you just look at these guys and you say, these guys, these guys are not going to be, showing up drunk every day. You just, especially the army guy, you look at him. I mean, this guy's, makes John Wayne look like a girl. You know what I mean? Like, it's just tough and tough. This guy's not he's not the alcoholic. You know what I mean? And oh, you stole a casino chip, and we're going to fire you when you have one of the most important jobs in the world. Yeah, I don't think so. Considering all the other things that diplomats and stuff can get away with, yeah, they're not going to be firing their guys in trouble, in the top for stupid trouble like that. But anyway, now this part of the video is complete. I cannot prove this. This is speculation, but maybe this is just stuff to think about, because if it is what it is, it's horrible. Well, did Obama have a nuclear weapon detonated 600 miles off the coast here, roughly about here, that created a 4.5 magnitude earthquake on the 8th of October, 2013? We can confirm, even the mainstream media talked about very briefly, and then they were hush hush. This is a problem with the mainstream media. They're not doing these people are just, they're slimes, okay? Because if you're not going to report on a story like that and stay on it like a pit bull on a pork chop, then and that's the problem with public funded pre-owned media. So they did mention it, and then you had that guy, I forget, was it Lindsey Graham? Was it Lindsey Graham? Anyway, yelling at, if we don't attack Iran, we're going to have a nuke go off in Charleston. Well, this coincides around the time of these generals getting fired, and the nukes, three generals get fired the day after the nukes go missing. Basically, there's only one man in the country that can order nukes to be moved. So, so that really only leaves one guy. That's why you can actually put the blame on Obama, because he's the only guy that can do this. Now, James Garlow, who seems to be who kind of leaked the litmus test thing, who's ex-CIA, was a Scottish-born guy, lived in Canada, lived in the United States. He has a website about he goes to China and he basically tries to rescue girls that are being aborted. The guy's a Christian, stuff like that. Maybe that's important to you, maybe it's not. But again, and I've covered this in other World War III videos and stuff like that. That sometimes you will get the Christian factions, and they'll give you the spiritual kind of intel, but don't discard the intel just because they're a Christian. You know what I mean? Some people will do that. I'm open-minded on all angles. Well, look at the topics I cover. Of course I'm open-minded on it. Is this unbelievable? No, this is definitely not unbelievable, because there's something that happened roughly around the same time up around Halifax about that starfish dying. A whole bunch of starfish roughly around the same time. If it happened before, please let me know. But I just kind of caught this story last night from the making of this video, and I really don't have all the details, but it goes something like this. The nukes go missing. What they were going to do, is plan a EMP, which we also heard, the drill for the EMP and stuff like that, off the coast of Hawaii a couple of weeks ago. There was basically roughly around the same time, and the Chinese were in those waters as well. Very, very scary. So these three nukes go missing. Okay, now these nuclear weapons have collars. It's a collar that attaches to it. These are like suitcase type nukes. Okay, now at the same time, every 11 years, the sun has a polar flip. This been happening since the beginning of time. It hasn't changed until this time. The North Pole of the sun and the South Pole of the sun flipped in its solar cycle. However, when the southern part apparently fizzled out. Some people say it's act of God. I don't know, whatever you want to believe, but or we just got lucky. Now, the reason why this is a big thing is that the EMP in itself were very low, they were like 1 megaton or whatever. If they were strategically placed at the time of a solar flare, it would have definitely devastated all of the United States, probably even most of Canada. Now, Canada's already experienced about 2 solar flare cycles ago, and I remember this. I was a kid when it happened. Basically, it was a solar flare, and it fried out our grid. Yeah, but that was back before everything was, okay, you can't use your microwave. Okay, you can't watch TV. But everything, like all your personal life wasn't on a digital device. You know what I'm saying? Money, wasn't, money was still more paper than digital at that time. And that's, that was pretty devastating. I think it was like 3 weeks before we had power. It blew up quite a few transformers and stuff like that. And that's the damage of a solar flare. Compile that with an actual EMP, electromagnetic pulse weapon, strategically placed. Well, you could cripple anything, And the nuclear weapons were going to be moved, okay? And they needed the collars. And this is where these 3 generals apparently come in, is these generals basically, kind of got an idea of what was going on. And they actually told the president no, from what the sources say. The problem is I cannot confirm these. It might sound like a wild story, but this does. The big thing is that yes, you can get. There is proof of that you can easily find that a 4.5 magnitude earthquake and a dead starfish that just mysteriously died. So he was told no. One general, I guess, took one nuke one way. The other general took the nuke another way, and I guess the other general must have taken the nuke another way. So 2 nukes are still out there missing. Okay. Now, these 3 men may have just saved a whole lot of people here. A whole lot of people. That's how you take down the power grid. That's how you kill off the masses. Up here in Canada, well, we'll survive because, most people, we have a different mindset. A great example is the flooding in Calgary. People didn't wait for, the health services to arrive. They just chipped in. It's just the way we are in natural disasters. I can't say that for the States, because you have mixed communities. And again, you can call me racist bigot if you want, but we've seen what happened when New York City had a blackout in 2000 or 1998. Was it? No, 2004, whenever the big blackout was. People looted like crazy, and you're going to get that. You're going to get the people in the ghettos are going to do stupid stuff like that. And then, of course, you're going to get, I'm not saying white people didn't do it too. I mean, I'm saying that, it is a problem that people don't want to address. Canada, you have a multicultural society, but everybody's kind of integrated. It's we don't have the ghettos. We have some ghettos, but we don't have that same problem. So only in those areas is where you're going to have those major problems. But where you get your big problems is when people start running out of food and just start going around killing each other for resources. The United States, I mean, they have a lot of problems because of the segregation down there. That's the big one, and I mean, you can't deny it. You can't deny it. So that will just make things so chaotic. It's not funny, So plus we're especially like in towns like mine, we're so used to power outages. It's not funny. It gets kind of a little annoying after a while, but. But if it was out for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, it does take a different, you can't get gas, you can't get this, going back to the 1800s is not easy, and most people could not accept that and they would just go berserk. So most people would probably just starve to death because the supermarkets wouldn't be getting filled up anymore. So that would create your problem. That'd be a perfect opportunity for China to come in, and that's what they're probably waiting for, is just to come in on a disaster like that. That they've openly said that, But if someone's willing to detonate a nuke in the ocean, and this wasn't Obama detonating the nuke. I don't think it was. I think it was the generals did that so that Obama couldn't get a hold of it. Again, I'm hoping this is just a wild story, but it's so unbelievable that and nobody can find these generals right now. So they're probably dead or hiding. So. Yeah, that's very, 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 very terrifying. Right there is that's a military coup right there. They're not going to do that. So Obama is a madman. Now, the guy that replaced one of the generals, of course, again, I'm going to get called anti-Semitic and racist Jew, racist bigot, but this guy sounds very Jewish. So, okay, we got the Jewish bankers, we got the Jewish, and I'm not saying Jewish people in general. I'm saying that all the cartels have an agenda, and they're the banking cartel, the, there's, the Israeli lobby, all that. They're Zionists, and Zionism is not. It's to me is like jihad. It's the same. I get the concept on it, and I'm sure Again, it's not all of them, but again, we have the Jewish-owned media, we have the Jewish-owned. So you're seeing the agenda there. So it's kind of funny that there's always a Jew that kind of takes over, and then all these bad things happen. So again, I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic. Again, if you're Jewish, I have nothing against you, but the people at the top, they seem to have an agenda. And, if it was all Christians, it'd be the same. It'd be the exact same for me. I just call it as I see it. So this is something to, what's the history? Who's the connection? We'll have to look into this guy in the future to see what, maybe he's an exemplary man, but he's probably going to be more pro-Obama than anybody. So, and we've seen 200 people, head officials of the military being purged under the Obama regime. Wow. So I don't know how much further I can take this, because it's just something that, the idea of it is completely terrifying, Again, the source I got it from, obviously, InfoWars is where I picked up on the story the first time. You could also saw it, I think it was Fox News, and CNN also covered it, or it might have been Fox anyway, talking especially when that guy blabbed there about a nuke going off at Charleston. That was covered worldwide. Maybe he got a hint of it and just kind of couldn't contain himself. So there was probably definitely a hint of truth there. So you have that. That happened, coinciding. Again, if somebody can give me the date that all those starfish died there, 4.5 magnitude earthquake. Russians even said they detected, it wasn't an earthquake they detected, a shockwave conclusive to that of a nuclear weapon going off. So even the Russians, this came from the KG, not the KGB, but GRB. It's one of their new KGB, I guess you'd call them. I forget what they. Anyway, it came from their intelligence agency. They said yes, they detected an anomaly there. That earthquake seemed to be more of a nuke going off. So 600 miles out to sea, they dropped a nuke in the water and detonated it. So that's a military coup. So this, again, I've been calling for that you would see stuff like this since, the past 2 years. And I think early 2014 is going to be a very flip on the elites. Again, you're starting to see people turn on the elites too. We're even seeing Congress talk about, that, okay, it's time to face up to the fact that we have a dictator in the Oval Office, that Obama is a dictator. The man panders well in front of the camera, and you want to like the guy. He's an excellent speaker. But behind the scenes, look at last year when Hillary Clinton, slipped and fell in the White House. I'm wondering if Obama decked her. I'm really, you can't make the man evil for stuff that you can't prove that he did. But, the big, if this is a hoax or whatever, which I hope it would be, where are the generals? Where are they now? If they just got fired, they'd still be at home. But where are the generals? Number two, where are the, it's been pretty much proven that, probably 80% likely that those nukes were moved. There's enough people seem to be blowing the whistle on that. There's two of them still out there. Where are they? The third one, well, the thing is why detonate it at the bottom of the ocean? Well, radiation goes cold and dormant and cold, so the deeper, the better. The dead starfish, the magnitude earthquake, how do they coincide? For those of you who don't know, trade winds go like this, and most of the currents go like this. That's the trade winds. And then around here, the equator kind of switch, and it goes down there. Just know that from sailing. So yeah, that's kind of a crazy times. And then of course people are starting to catch on to the idea that Obama's not who what he really says he is. And this is coming from a Congress kind of, and it's not just the racist bigot guy that can't be politically correct. whatever, it's beyond that. These are people that voted for him that are starting to say, no, this man is, he's done more executive orders than, at last count it was like 140, and that was about a year ago. So he must be well over 200 or 300 executive orders by now. This man goes around Congress as much as he possibly can. He's a dictator. Does not believe in democracy. Disagreeing with him, bad things happen to you. The amount of people that drop dead around that man. You gotta say, hey, like that, it's believable. So right there, that's, yeah. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. So rate, subscribe. This is probably one of the more kind of eerie World War III updates that I've done. Again, big questions. Just things. Okay, we know about the solar flare, so the timing, everything kind of works out to the way, that makes sense that did happen. 4.5 magnitude earthquake, 600 miles out. Dead starfish probably a little after. Where are the three generals? Where are the three nukes? Well, one is probably at the bottom of the ocean. In particle form, I guess. I don't know. All right, so if there's any other details that you know about that you can share, again, the whistleblowers are coming out. So it's just when people, they're always protecting their sources. So it's like, you never know. It could be all BS, but I don't know. All right, so anyway, rate, subscribe, definitely comment. Okay, so hi and welcome. Alrighty. Charleston, there we go, right there, Charleston. Okay, about 3 months ago, there was, InfoWars had put out the thing about the nukes being moved from the bases. Since then, we've seen, a major purging of generals, particularly three strategic nuclear generals being taken away from, fired by Obama for the most bizarrest of reasons. One for drinking, one for gambling. And you just look at these guys and you say, these guys, these guys are not going to be, showing up drunk every day. You just, especially the Army guy, you look at him, I mean, this guy's, makes John Wayne look like a girl, you know what I mean? Like, it's just tough and tough, This guy's not he's not the alcoholic, you know what I mean? And, oh, you stole a casino chip and we're going to fire you when you have one of the most important jobs in the world. Yeah, I don't think so. Considering all the other things that diplomats and stuff can get away with, yeah, they're not going to be firing their guys in trouble, in the top for stupid trouble like that. But anyway, now this part of the video is complete. I cannot prove this. This is speculation, but maybe this is just stuff to think about, because if it is what it is, it's horrible. Well, did Obama have a nuclear weapon detonated 600 miles off the coast here, roughly about here, that created a 4.5 magnitude earthquake on the 8th of October, 2013? We can confirm, even the mainstream media talked about very briefly, and then they were hush hush. This is a problem with the mainstream media. They're not doing these people are just, they're slimes, okay? Because if you're not going to report on a story like that and stay on it like a pit bull on a pork chop, then and that's the problem with public funded pre-owned media. So they did mention it, and then you had that guy, I forget, was it Lindsey Graham? Was it Lindsey Graham? Anyway, yelling at, if we don't attack Iran, we're going to have a nuke go off in Charleston. Well, this coincides around the time